Hello, my loves. I did not plan this live, so no, you did not miss anything. I am just showing up now because I've had a few people reaching out, and I figured if there's enough people reaching out asking this question, I should probably go live and talk about it. So when you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know that you are here, where you're watching from, and if you're catching the replay, just hashtag it replay. Let me send you a little bit of love. So we're going to be talking about today is past lives, alternate realities, and a lot of people have been feeling weird. So I want to talk about this time-space continuum that we are in. Okay. So first, let's start off with, I mentioned in my my second June energy update, actually both energy updates. So if you haven't watched the June energy updates, there's two of them. You can head over to YouTube, or you can go through my business profile and you can find them. They have packed loads of information. And this information isn't just for June, because June is like the activation point, and this energy is going to unfold and play out over the rest of the year, and even beyond that, really. But what I mentioned in the June energy update was that this past eclipse that we went through with the new moon solar eclipse, the solar eclipse is always an activation point. And what I talked about was in that eclipse that in 2012, we began syncing with this wormhole. It's the best way to describe it. This portal, right? This stargate. We began aligning with it in 2012. Well, as I mentioned, as we went through this eclipse, that we would be entering into this wormhole. Okay. So now that we have entered into it, I can tell you personally, I have experienced some weird things and continue to. And I've had a ton of people, a ton of students and followers reaching out to me going, what is happening? Like all this weird stuff is happening, right? So it's like people are reaching out to you that you haven't talked to in forever. Like weird things are happening that makes you feel like you're in the twilight zone. Hi, Julie. Just random things, crazy, vivid dreams, which I also want to talk about, where it's so real, right? And there's all these messages and all this information coming through. And so many people, right? We talked about that third eye activation, are now seeing for the first time ethereally, like seeing in their mind's eye or seeing with their eyes wide open, glitches in the system, people walking by out of the corner of their eye. And so I just want to kind of talk about that. It's going to be a short live, but I just wanted to dive into it a little bit and let you know you're not alone, and that all this weird stuff that's happening, there is a reason behind it. Okay. So when we talk about a time-space continuum, what we're talking about is a link between time and space, right? So a link between 2 points, right? That is really what a wormhole is. It's this link between time and space. So entering in like a tunnel. Like if you ever go to New York, there's a lot of tunnels, right? So you're going from point A to point B. There's a shortcut because there's water there. So you go under the water, right? So coming out of, I think it's JFK or one of them, when you're coming into the city, you actually go in a tunnel underwater. That's a shortcut, right? And that's what we're going through right now between this past eclipse, the solar eclipse, and this next lunar eclipse. We are in this wormhole, in this tunnel. It's a time-space continuum. And so in that, the universe can be seen, really, you can view the universe in 3 kind of dimensions, right? So it's going to be up, down, right, left, forwards, backwards. And so in this time-space continuum that we are in, it can feel like life is going really slow, or it can seem like life is going really fast. And there's actually hidden meanings to both, right? So if your world is going at hyper speed and everything's like so fast and you're feeling like I can't catch up, I don't have enough time, blah, blah, blah. You're feeling that anxiety, that pressure. That's going to be, hi, Patty. That's going to be your indicator that you are not in the present moment. Hi, Vanessa. You are not in the present moment. If time is just flying by and you're feeling the pressure of, I don't have enough time, I have to hurry up, like I can't get a grip on things, You are not in the present moment. Okay. Now, for me, time has slowed down. One of my private mentor students and I were chatting yesterday, and the way that I do private mentorship is I do 3 sessions on, so 3 weeks on, we take 1 week off. And so her week off was last week, and it literally felt like I hadn't seen her in a month. Like time had just slowed so down for me. And that's because I really it's like my everyday mastering is to be present, right? To be present and be aware and be the observer of my reality, which gives you more time and space, right? So I really want you to kind of notice in your everyday life how fast or slow time is going for you, and have that awareness that if time is flying by, you are not in the present moment. You're up in your head, which means you're in the past or you're in the future. You're not focused in this moment. And there's so many reasons why you want to be the observer of your reality right now, why you want to be in the present moment and be so aware. Because of being in this time-space continuum, we are easily accessing alternate realities, alternate timelines, alternate lives. Because you guys know how I always say this, like there is no past lives. Everything is happening in the now moment. And so for some of you, you may be having really vivid dreams. And I'm talking the dreams that you wake up and you're like, was that a memory or was that a dream? And when you're accessing that, you are accessing an alternate reality. I had a really cool one yesterday where I was accessing an alternate reality. And the same people were in my realities now, right? I was still married to my husband. My son instead wasn't adopted. He was actually my husband's child. My grandmother was still alive, but my father was not, right? There were certain people in there. There was certain symbolisms in there. And it was like, there was no way I couldn't remember it because it happened. It was real. And that's you accessing an alternate timeline, an alternate reality. Because in this now moment, we are running a similar life with different choices, right? And sometimes even different people all at the same time. And this is how, when we talk about collapsing timelines, right? Because I've talked about the matrix glitching out right now. The reason why people are seeing these weird glitches or these weird flashes is because as we're in this time-space continuum, we are quantum leaping collectively. And that means that there are hundreds and thousands of timelines collapsing. And as they collapse, the matrix is glitching because it's so much. Because this is a hologram. And I know it doesn't feel that way, right? I'm actually going to be interviewed in a couple of weeks from Gabrielle Spencer and Soulscape. And we're going to be diving into understanding how we live in a 3-dimensional plane, even though we'll be moving into a 5th dimensional consciousness. For some, like me, we're already in that 5th dimensional consciousness, but a lot of people still don't understand that shift. So I'll be posting about that, where you guys can check out my interview in July. Actually, probably in the next day or two, I'll be starting to promote that. So know that that's coming, and we're going to be diving deeper into that. But I want to leave that conversation there. But as you're viewing, if you're really the observer of your reality and you're really practicing presence, and you begin to access other times and space, right? Because if we're in this wormhole, right? We're in this time-space continuum. That means we can access forward, backwards, right, left, up, down. We can access the higher dimensions. We can go back to other timelines, and back, is a linear term. We can go forward into our future, right? We can see so much. And so if you're present and aware, you'll start to begin to have these weird things happen where you start tuning in to other realities, and you're like, this stuff didn't happen, but I'm viewing it. I'm feeling it. I'm hearing it. I'm seeing it, right? And one of the people that asked me, I said, don't take everything literally. Take everything metaphorically. So if you see a red Lamborghini in your alternate reality, what does a car represent? It represents It's like the father energy. It's the masculine energy. It's the forward motion. It's movement. And what does red represent? It represents the root chakra, safety, security, stability. So you have to look at everything at a metaphoric standpoint and break it down. Because everything is messages. Everything is coming to you. All of this information is available for you to access if you are in the present moment, if you are in your conscious awareness. And this is why one of the things I teach, no matter what course, no matter what I'm doing, I always am talking about awareness, because awareness is when we're bringing more light to ourself, right? So a spiritual awakening is just this journey of realizing more of yourself and those access points, okay? And so if you guys are feeling off or having people, places, and things show up in your reality that maybe have never been there or are like showing up again when they haven't in 10 years or 2 years or 5 months, whatever's happening, don't take it personal. Just be the observer of your reality. Just observe it. Ask yourself, if this was a metaphor, what would it mean? What would it be trying to tell me? Really allow yourself to just view this information, right? To be aware of it, take note of it, journal it. When you wake up in the morning, pick up your phone and get a audio recording app and just record yourself, or just turn on your video on your phone and record yourself talking about your dreams, talking about the things you saw in meditation even, right? I mean, literally just being in the present moment and seeing that. Seeing something out of the corner of your eye, write it down. Take note of it. Come back to it later if you need to. But this is how you are going to move through this pretty much 2-week space-time continuum that we are in. Now, the next eclipse, the third final eclipse of this season, you guys, we don't normally have 3 eclipses in the middle of eclipse season, right? This is a very pivotal year. So this third eclipse, right? This is kind of like we went through this total rebirthing process, and we're going to be being birthed out, right? We're going to be being birthed out of this lunar eclipse that's coming up. And this is us coming out of that wormhole. It will be us coming out of that time-space continuum. It will be us quantum leaping into a higher level of consciousness and a higher level of awareness. And so during this transition, these 3 eclipses, the energy's been quite intense. And for some, that's going to be uncomfortable. And for some that have done the work and they're really in a good place, it's going to be amazing. It's going to feel like you're off the charts. You're like in a super high vibration. So wherever you are, know that that's okay. Whatever you're seeing, know that that's okay. Don't take it personal. Just observe, take note, and remember that we are in this wormhole. We are in this time-space continuum where things can be accessed easily from all time and space. This is also a great time to manifest, you guys, because we are literally going through this quantum space of you can now pull from the future. You can now pull from the past. You can now pull from the right. You can now pull from the left. You can pull from higher dimensions. Okay, it's about believing, accessing, believing, and then demonstrating. Feeling that energy and then doing it, being it, showing up. Use this time. It's magic. Harness it. Make it a priority. Hi, Tara Lynn. So let me see if I have any questions before I wrap. Not another Lamborghini. Tara Lynn says it's nice to know what she's experiencing. Yes, there's a lot of people experiencing this and feeling weird. How do we stay in the present? For example, you have so many deadlines at work and things to do. You don't multitask. That's the biggest crock that 3D has ever conditioned us to believe, is that we have to multitask. Multitasking can be done in a multidimensional time and space very easily, right? Because in quantum, everything's happening at the same time. Everything's happening all inclusively, okay? But when we come into a three-dimensional plane of existence, where we have been conditioned to everything has to be linearly, when we multitask, our brain is a tool in our body, but our brain is not as high functioning as five-dimensional consciousness and beyond. It doesn't process that way, because remember, vibration is the rate of speed in which you process information. Frequency is when you're in that high vibe. That's a high frequency. Vibration just means how fast can you process your present reality? How fast can you process the information coming through? Okay, so when you are multitasking, your brain can't process that quickly. It just can't. It's not equipped to. Maybe in the future, as we evolve, because our bodies are what's actually ascending, right? Our consciousness is not ascending. Our consciousness is being allowed. Our body is what's ascending. So as we evolve and our bodies evolve, I believe with every fiber of my being that there will be a reality on Earth where we will be shape-shifting and we will be no longer releasing or shedding our bodies to be buried or cremated. We'll just simply be shape-shifting again. But our bodies are going through that ascension process. So back to the original question. How do you stay present? You stop multitasking. You make a list. You start your day, you have a workload, you make a list, you prioritize it. What is the most important to do? You start with that. You give all your attention to that one thing. When that one thing's finished, you move on to the next thing. And if you're someone like me, when I am in my creative flow, when I am channeling, when I am being creative, when I am creating a course, when I'm drawing, when I'm doing light language, anything like that, I don't like external disruptions because it can pull me out of my flow. So if you do work in a traditional job, which I know a lot of you guys still do, and there's nothing wrong with that, you have to have good boundaries. So if you're in the middle of something, you need to put a sign on your door, or when someone walks in, you need to say, give me 5 minutes, and go right back. Don't entertain what they're doing unless it's an emergency. This takes practice, but being in the present moment and being the observer of your reality means you focus on one thing at a time. You don't multitask, because the brain, it takes 15 minutes for your brain to change gears. So if you're working on this, and then you're like, oh, and then you go over here, and you're, oh, and I go over here. And at the end of the day, you're like, I didn't really feel like I got anything done, but I'm exhausted. It's because your body was spending so much time and energy trying to get your brain to switch gears and access a different level of consciousness, access a different spot within you, a different space within you, that it's burnt all of its energy just doing that simple work of going back and forth. So that is how you be in the present moment. Okay. Tuning in from Belgium. Yay, welcome. Bye, Julie. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm so glad it resonates. All right, you guys, I told you this was going to be a short live. It was wonderful to see so many of your beautiful faces popping on. I will be having July's energy update coming out soon. July is a big month. You know, every year I talk about July because it's the Galactic New Year. It's my birth month. And it's literally it's like the birthing canal for all the other zodiacs. And so July is when we are going to be birthing this new level of consciousness, and so many collectively. We're going to be birthing into this new time and space reality. So much is going to be being created. And the Galactic New Year is always a potent time, always, always a potent time. And so I can't wait to dive into that. It's one of my favorites because you guys know how I love my galactic friends that are on my team. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. And don't forget to tune in tonight on the breakdown. We're going to be live with Bella Crystal. We're going to be talking about Tantra and using our sexual powers for creation and all kinds of other things. And that's at 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight on the breakdown. You can find us on YouTube or on Facebook. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.